PF.
Yeah.
You are the first one here. That is awesome.
Oh, no way.
Hey.
Wow.
I know. Okay, so
Well,
how cold is it up there? You're all bundled up.
oh, it's not that cold. It's only 34 degrees.
Ugh. I want to hear some like good stuff going on. What's going on in your lives?
So I'll go. It's non-real estate related, but I am relieving some financial pressure by spending more time driving Lyft. So, which is good because it frees up my mind. I don't have that worry, that weight on my shoulder, so to speak.
Right.
So,
That's great. Can you talk to them about real estate?
I'm sorry?
Can you talk to them about real estate?
Not yes. Yeah. But it's kind of like, very low key, so to speak.
Very low key. It's super low key. Yep.
Yeah. Because I want my profession as a realtor to be of a higher standard. I don't want someone to think, oh, you're a real estate agent and you drive Lyft. That kind of like
you don't want to do that. You want to be along the lines more of have you ever thought about investing in real estate? I'm part of a team and we teach people how to invest and as well. And that puts you in a different type of real estate agent. It also lets them know that, you just, there's ways to be subtle about it. And I understand. I really do. Because like Bree mixes it in with her, what she does also. And she's in really nice restaurants.
Yeah, but that's a really nice restaurant. This is, you're picking up a $4.97 fare.
But you never know if you've got a CEO or a businessman.
Right, exactly. So, but I want to make sure that what I do is that I talk about myself in I'm doing this on my free time so that I'm getting more familiar with the city, all the lands, which I am.
Perfect.
And also I'm practicing my interpersonal skills.
And tell them that you're driving for dollars. This is the best way of driving for dollars you've ever found.
Driving for dollars? What do you mean?
Oh, who would like to tell PF what driving for dollars is?
I don't know what that is.
Go, Kathy.
Driving for dollars is basically driving around looking for properties that look like they might be willing to sell or need help.
Distressed. Looking for distressed.
So it may be junk everywhere. It may be grass is up to the windows. It may be looks vacant. All kinds of things.
Yep. And it's so this is what you can tell people. You can go, well, I wanted to figure out how to leverage everything I do. So I do this and I drive for dollars and it's a perfect mix because I never know where I'm ending up. And that's why I find my investment properties. Yes.
Love it. Because people will be like, what's driving for dollars? Like I just said.
Exactly.
Wow, I love it.
And you're not the only Lyft driver that's an investor, because I know people that do that.
Yeah, but I've heard several horror stories that I'm like, that's why I don't want to diminish myself as a realtor, because I've heard so many people always say, oh, my Lyft driver, my Uber driver was pouncing on me because he's a real estate agent.
Oh, you're not pouncing. You're just, it's
and
not.
Also, but I want to make sure that I distinguish myself that way, that I'm elevated. Right. It's like real estate is up here and Lyft is down here, kind of like propping it up a little.
Right.
Yes.
As opposed to how they proudly conceive it, like, oh, you're not doing so good in real estate. So that's why you're here.
So counter that immediately with the other direction of, I help people do regular real estate also, but really what I'm looking for is I'm dying. This is what I do. I drive for dollars. Yeah, I love it. I got how to leverage it in such a way that I get to meet people. I get to find my properties. I get paid too. It's a brilliant leverage. It really is.
Yes.
I thought about it.
Yeah. I just before I started, because my BNI meeting, we ended early. we didn't have any visitors today, so we were like, all right, let's go now. So I was like flipping a coin. I'm at the Aldi parking lot, and I was like, they're not open yet. Do I stay and join the wealth determiners meeting because I'm finally early, or do I drive Lyft and make a few extra dollars because it's commuting time? This was worth it. The extra few extra dollars, because now I have that nugget of dialing for dollars. That's awesome.
I love this story so much, and here's why. So yesterday, so I'm part of a Honey Badgers leadership group, and I haven't been on it since right before Christmas with the holidays. And so I've missed one a week for all of January, 2/3 of February, and all of December probably. So what is that? 8, 10, let's say 10 weeks. I've missed it. 10 weeks, right? That's a long time. And Gary's like, get your butt back on there again. Da, 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 da. And I was like, you're right. So even though I am slammed up to here trying to get the website launched, I was on it yesterday morning. And I got the best thing. Honey Badgers is building a coaching library of coaches, and they will do the lead generation side of it. We just have to teach the classes. And as I was sitting there on the meeting, we're like, does anybody have any interest? And I'm like, I just built this. It's built. It's ready to go. You know, I want to do this. And so I am meeting with Albie Stasek, who's like 4 or 5 levels above me. I'm meeting with him Wednesday, because out of the whole group, they know a couple other people that have classes, but they weren't there. But out of the whole group, I was there. I have the class completely ready to go, all of it. Matter of fact, boxes are already packed. Oh, hang on. And there's my glass of water, but boxes are already packed back there to go out as soon as, you know what I mean? When someone registers, then the box goes out, registers and pays. Box goes out. So I was like, ready. And that I got out of the meeting, that I was like, I really should finish up this website. And then we finished it up before I left anyway, you know? So, well, we got my partner. Yeah. So I'm glad that you did this too. I really am.
Yeah, and just to speak to you, PF, because you are in a prime position. You just roll it off your tongue like, show them this is the work you do on the behalf of your investors, driving for dollars.
Yes.
Like that's your value right there, is that you're going out there, you're looking at the properties, you're doing all the due diligence, and then you're working with them to educate them on the profit, you know, on the investment piece as well. So this is a part of your service as a realtor and working with investors, and play it from that angle.
Yes.
It's perfect.
Totally agree. PF, your personality is such that you don't come off as pushy, or you don't come off as ingenuine at all.
Thank you.
Come off so real and so raw, so that they can actually see that it's part of the service that you provide. And I can tell you, in another investment group that I'm in, they mostly do like flips, and they handle a lot of distressed properties. So they actually pay pizza delivery guys, they pay Lyft drivers, Uber drivers to actually drive around for them and actually get them addresses that they could potentially use to call the sellers. I can tell you there's a huge marketing budget behind it. Like they pay $100 for each pizza delivery driver, for example, depending on the markets, of course, but like 100 here, 100 there, 100 there. And on a monthly basis, some of the bigger guys, especially, they have at least 2,000-3,000 going out to various different types of drivers. And then they pay them additional tips once they bring them the information and they're able to close on it. So, you know, if they find a distressed property, or if they find one while driving around, they give them an address. They don't give them anything extra at that point in time, but once they close, here's another 500, here's another 1,000. So that is something that is already incorporated in their marketing budget. They just call it marketing. They don't do referrals, but they call it marketing. So you're on the right track, and you are primed, my friend.
I agree.
Oh, thank you.
I agree. I agree. You're showing your value proposition at work right there. I mean, I think it's a huge win for you.
If I got in the car, I agree. I used to also pay for delivery drivers, mailmen, all that kind of stuff. If UPS drivers, another good one, that kind of stuff. If I met somebody and they were an Uber driver and they were an investor because they could drive for dollars and that got them out there and they got paid, I would be like, you are brilliant because you're getting paid twice for the same thing you do.
Yeah.
And or 3 times depending upon what you're doing with the property, you know? So I would be like, I would not look at you at all as an Uber driver. I would look at you as somebody who's flipping brilliant and figured out how to hack a system.
This is a complete mind blast. Yeah, you guys just like completely destroyed my brain and reconstructed it brilliantly.
It's one of the things
Wow.
that Fortune Builders, this is one of their things that they tell you to do. You go
Yeah.
driving for dollars.
Mhm.
That's
Oh,
part
okay.
of building your database. And Gary's letter program would fit in perfect. You collect that data, reach out yourself unless you do want to sell it. You know,
Yeah.
but I think you'd probably be better off to do it yourself or have a VA do it.
Right.
Or because I know that you're driving right now for that. It just, you write down your addresses, have pad and paper, or better yet, put
Have a
HomeSnap.
tape recorder.
Put HomeSnap on your phone and just take a picture with HomeSnap because that gives
Okay.
you information right there. Boom, you already have it. You've got the
Yeah.
address, how much they think it's worth. You've got the picture of the house and just
Yeah.
save it. So that's literally slow down, click, keep going. Slow
Yeah,
down,
yeah.
slow though, because I've tried to do it faster and it won't work.
No, it
Don't
won't.
worry.
And it can pick up multiple addresses. So, but I do it too.
Yeah, I love it. It's a lot. Whenever Greg and I travel, that's what we do. We're like, oh, hang on, we'll just stop by some like stunning thing. And where I'm like, oh, Greg's like, how much is it worth? Hang on, you know, click. Okay, cool. So yeah, so I'd home snap it. And then I would run with that after that point and put your letter campaign in at night when you get home.
Nice. Thank you.
Doesn't cost anything to join HomeSnap if you don't already have it.
Yep.
Well, I have access, like it was mentioned last night in class,
Mhm.
here in Massachusetts, HomeSnap is part of my MLS.
Yeah,
You
mine
know,
too.
the free version,
Yeah,
the
mine too.
limited version,
Mhm.
which is fine because if I'm not doing 100 mails a day, that is what the limited version has is enough.
Mhm.
It's fun. I like it.
Yeah.
But I did find out, and I told Gary when I mentioned it before, that we might be interested as a group, that Realtor.com has taken that over. So even though you see HomeSnap still,
Mm.
when I went to the last training, because I thought, well, I'll find out what else is new, you know,
Mhm.
and make the connection. They had another realtor in there teaching it. And she had said that they don't send people out very often anymore, that they're part of Realtor.com.
Mm.
So it's just, and there was a person in the class that was trying to belong to Realtor.com and had whatever their thing is, because I haven't really looked into that much,
Mhm.
and was trying to pull up the app, and they had to go through Realtor.com to get to it, like in the back door, because it was weird. It was just weird. Everybody else in the class didn't have that. Like, because you can buy the pro version of HomeSnap, you probably know that. And so if you've done something with Realtor.com and done that, it sort of incorporates that through the other side or
Well,
something.
makes you just forces your login that way.
Yeah,
You gotcha. And so landing pages and pushes you through.
yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, I like it a lot.
Cool.
Very cool. All right.
Very cool.
Well, that was a really little bit of good news that went awesome. So who else has got something cool and good they'd like to share? Morning, Craig.
Hello.
You're last. So what do you got good news?
I'm headed to a closing.
See, that is fabulous news. Congratulations.
Yeah, but it's not mine.
Ah,
No, I'm sitting in for another agent. She asked me what I sit in, but
Okay.
so I'm going to sit in with them. They're new home buyers, but you know, I'll do it. She's a good friend. Oh, so I do have good news. I'm sorry. The reason why I'm late to the call is I was on the phone with Nicole.
You were
So
fine, and that's good. What's going on?
I was on the phone with Nicole.
Yep.
She gave me a call.
Yes.
So, she left,
Uh-huh.
but she's sending another agent to me to talk to me about coming over to EXP.
Oh, very
Yeah.
good.
Cool. Very, very cool. That's good. That's awesome.
Congrats.
Yep.
Yep. Thanks. Hopefully it works out.
I hope so too. All right, let's hear some more good news. What do you guys got?
I've started something, but I don't have, I don't have anything. Well, kind of. I was walking the other day doing stuff anyway. A neighbor came by. It turns out that her husband had a stroke and now they're thinking about selling their house. She reached out to me, even though she told me that her husband doesn't want to do this right now. And it made it sound like she was ready. She talked to him and they were ready to go. When I reached back to her, they had gotten into a fight because she started doing things early. So anyway, but that's coming, it's down the road. And, I'm sure like I told her, there's a lot going on.
Well, yeah, and strokes can change depending upon if it's a TIA or bigger, can change how you think, can do a lot of stuff. They really, really can. And I understand for her wanting to get the information and get prepped now. I would want to, in case something really horrible happens, I would want to know, okay, this is my next steps that I need to do.
Yeah, he's thinking like a year and she's thinking like this year. And they're talking about moving back up north where they used to be and near their son. So she's got help, all those normal things that she'd want.
Yep.
And, I'm sure I'm still here and I'm in control and I don't want to do this,
I think it's harder for men when something happens. I really do. In the beginning, I think it's harder for men. I think women are more accepting, maybe. I don't think I would be, but
I think I'd be just as bad.
I would think
any male. I really do.
Yep. So, all right. Well, that's a good news, but I'm glad that she reached out to you. And actually,
the door's open.
The best news is they couldn't get a better person who would be more understanding and more gracious and kind through the process. So they have a perfect match.
Yeah. When she reached out, she said she was going to talk to another realtor as well. Listen to me, realtor as well.
Yes.
And and I said, that's fine. But she wanted to know basically why she should hire me, what my, my stats are, stuff like that. And I don't have a lot. And that's not an area I feel comfortable in.
Oh, well, then what you do is you talk about the team stats. So you immediately defer when you don't have stats and you're on a team, you get the best of both worlds because you immediately come back and say, I'm part of a team. We have a team that specializes in da-da-da-da-da. Our stats are this. We outperform the average NAR agent 2-to-1.
Right.
Those are true. Gary and I keep on going through them and we keep on comparing them and they're true. So that's just our average agent. You get me.
Well, the only thing I said, I said, that I'd like to get together with her and talk about it. And asked her when next week was going to be good. And that's during that time when I was waiting for responses when they got in the argument. And I had just, I told her how much I understood. And I told her that there was no pressure. Whenever they were ready, I was here to help them.
Right.
And I just said that 3/4 of my business has been with listings. And that's true.
It's very true. See, and that's a great step because the average agent runs somewhere between 40, 60, 60, 40, or skewed massively towards the buyer side.
Yeah. The only reason it's not a true 100%, 75% of my business is because I got a referral for a small land deal last year.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I still coach agents, but when I had the big offices, one of the things we watched for were stats. And if I had an agent that's listing stats were sky high and the buyers, if you were a top agent and you came into me with those stats, 75-25, we would be having a discussion about your business because you're letting buyers slip by and you're not taking advantage of your listings. Now, you're not that big agent where you're there, you're building, you know what I mean? So your stats are great. Don't worry about them. But if you were doing 50 deals or more a year and you came to me with a 75-25 ratio, we would be having a talk about all the buyer sides that you're missing business.
If I was doing that much, I would have help. There's no way in hell I'm going to do that many all on my own.
So anyway, just let to know,
That's referrals.
those are good stats. So you be proud of those, and that's a good number.
And I definitely have some investing. I'd be calling you a lot harder, Craig.
Ah, all right.
He's the only EXP on this side.
Anybody have anything else, since we used up a lot of our time with PF, but I do want to honor everybody else.
Sorry. Thank you.
Guys,
No.
speaking of listings, I was wondering, would you mind sharing what services you offer as part of your listing packages, if you don't mind? I'm going through the NAR, not NAR, the NAEA seller or listing presentation, I think, certification program. And I'm actually just wondering, like, what potential value add can you offer as part of your listing services to, one, protect yourself in the event that a listing pulls out? For example, I had one listing, I'm so sorry. They were used to the market just essentially going in and out within like a 5-day period. And all of my listings at that time were selling that fast. But market shifted and now we're on 81 days on market. So what services can you offer while at the same time protecting yourself from the possibility of them just saying, you know what, I'll just sit this out, I'll go ahead and get a tenant instead? Because before I would include photography, I would include drone, Matterport, and I was also considering possibly putting in staging depending on the price point, but I just want to know, like, what you guys do. What could we do to increase our value, but at the same time protect us in the event they decide to pull out?
Can I jump in here?
I would love that.
Okay, so taking the NAEA training live, I took their I don't know, 4-day program or whatever, and I did it live. And their seller presentation is verbatim. I did it with Bree, I think. Bree, didn't I do that with you? Yeah. Their seller presentation is verbatim my seller presentation. It was freakishly weird. I mean,
oh my God, that's so cool.
So it's so close to, I mean, a couple of minor tweaks of how I walked in the door and how I presented. For instance, I brought my sign, I put my key box on the door before they ever answered the door. My sign was leaning up against their front porch, key box was already slapped on their door. But from that point forward, the way they did pricing, almost verbatim mine, the verbiage they used, almost verbatim mine, all the way through. As far as extra stuff, I didn't offer. I ran really lean and mean, with the exclusion of this one caveat. If my area, if the particular area, because I sold in 3 counties, so it was an hour any direction from my house. So it was a big range, right? And if that particular area staged, then we had staging. Other than that, we didn't do it because I worked really, really hard to get that pricing, and the areas for the most part we were in weren't staging. Do a really quick MLS search, and if your stuff in your area is staged, I would definitely toss staging into it, and I would work something out with a stager to either partially stage maybe, or something along those lines. But your best bet to sell anything is there's one thing that will sell every house. There's one thing. Do you guys know what it is?
Price.
Price, period. It's price. It's always price. There's only 3 things that sell a house anyway. Do you guys know what the 3 things are? The 3 things in real estate for listings. There's only 3.
Location.
That's number 1. Exactly. That's number 1. What's Craig already said the second one's price. Do you guys
Price
know the
and
third?
condition.
Condition. That's it. Exactly. It's those 3. That's it. Can you change the location?
No.
Nope, you can't. Can you change the condition?
Yes.
Possibly. Exactly.
Possibly. Yeah, possibly.
Can you change price?
Yeah.
Possibly.
100%.
But you gotta make it right.
Always.
Then you don't
always,
have to.
You
And
have to
Anna, in our area, if a client wants a stage, the client pays for it. So just check your area, talk to other agents. So here it's normal that if you want it staged, the client will pay for it.
And so you do that, and then on my website, and they're on Gary's site also, there's a massive how to handle that conversation around price. There's massive scripts, and I know because I built them, and that was, because I did expireds, it was always price. That's always where I had to beat them down and what I had to do. So you want to have, and the only objection handlers I ever worried about knowing the rest of them, if I'm talking on the phone or whatever, I can just read it. I didn't learn it. I didn't worry about it. But the ones on price I memorized. And I had those where I could just pull them out, piece of cake. And it usually took, if I didn't get it in one, it might take 3, at the most it took 5. And after handling it 5 times, I got them there. And I was just really adamant about it. And what I learned for me personally, if I beat the hell out of you at the beginning, if I had to and beat you up over price, then the property sold in a reasonable amount of time and you flipping love me. But if I didn't, and I let you walk on me for price, and then it took longer to sell, you hated my guts. And I learned that pattern really quickly. And I was like, I don't like being hated. I'd rather up front, when you don't really know me, I'd rather come in really strong with, no, we're not doing. And I mean, once in a while I used it that way. Usually I handle price objections the way that you should be handling them. If I sensed that I had a super high deal that was pushing up against me, blah, 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 it was like, no. And then I continued on. If they pushed, then I brought out my objections. And you're an excellent reader of, human behavior. But that was the one thing, like pricing. It's pricing. 99% of once in a blue moon, you will get a house, no matter what the hell you do, it won't sell. I don't know why. But that's when you're listing, when I was listing a couple hundred, then yes, I would get one that it was freakishly weird. But there's only been 1, maybe 2, and I've done hundreds of houses. So it's really rare when you get one that for whatever reason just will not flipping sell.
I turned down a listing, Anna, because the clients wanted to price it a lot higher than it was going to get.
I'd for first, but if they're going to insist and you can't fight it down, yeah, walk.
So I mean that it was a mobile home. It was very, very rural, and it was a flippin' mess.
Oh, that's not worth crap. You know what
Oh
I mean?
no, it wasn't going to be. I mean, they had property acreage with it, so it was
a chunk of acreage.
But because their tenants tore up the house.
Yeah.
They wanted me to use the pictures for it that were before the house was torn up and put it at a higher price because they were in on it, and it was an investment loan.
Yep.
And they were moving out of the area, and they weren't willing to put more money into it, all kinds of stuff. And they would not listen to me with price.
Yep.
And guess what? They were an EXP agent.
And sometimes that is the worst.
I said no.
That is absolutely, I completely agree. Yep. So it's price.
Last year, I had the house I told you about. My wife's cousin wanted me to sell for them. It was way too high. It was about $20,000, $20,000 to $25,000 too high. They wanted 150. I told them they needed to be at 130. And she was like, well, no, I want 150. I was like, well, the market is not going to give you 150. You missed that boat. So she was like, well, what do you call it? Remodeled. Yeah. I was like, yeah, you did a renter's remodel.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't. And just before they wanted to put it on the market, they just went in and did the bathroom. They wasn't even going to do the bathroom, And I was like, so you did a renter's remodel. You did nothing to make anyone really want to come and spend $150,000, right? So she was like, well, I'll check with somebody else, and I know I can get. Okay, go ahead. I don't want to list it. Right. I don't want it. Not if you want to list it too much. I don't want it. So the good news is, she listed with someone else, one of the top agents in town. The top agent went ahead and listed it for 150, right? And it still hasn't sold. It's been over 6 months. And she told me that she wanted to put it on the market, test the waters for 3 months, and then they'll rent it out. I told her, I was like, listen, you need to just go ahead and rent it out now for $150,000 because you're not gonna get it.
Okay, Craig, you just hit on something even bigger than, I don't know if you know this or not. So that agent bought that listing.
Mhm.
How many other listings has that agent bought?
I'm not sure.
So here's the deal. If they bought one and they're a top agent, there's a pattern there. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
because the top agent won't do it. They will not do it, right? Because there's no way I would have taken an overpriced listing. I took one out of every single listing I ever took, and I was like, screw this. I'm never doing this again. And I didn't, and I wouldn't, right? And
Yeah.
there were only 3 of us Jonathan was an REO agent, but there were 3 of us. So out of the 4 top agents, that's who we were, right? And Jonathan was REO, so he wasn't really competition for the 3 of us. This one, everything he did was completely illegal. And I mean, it was completely illegal. And they took his license away. This one bought her listings, and then me. So that's who we were up against. And Jonathan was in my office. I love Jonathan. So she bought her listings. So I set up an MLS search on every single thing that she did. And I ran it back, and I started watching every listing she took. And then I would ping those listings to watch those listings. So the second they went expired, I could grab them. And
Gotcha.
I was on it because I knew that there was going to be a high percentage that she could not get the price beat down, and she would. And then so I did that. And then I also looked at her list price to sales price ratio, because someone who buys her listings has to list high, and then they got to sell low. Anyway, so I ran her list price to sales price ratio. And whenever I was up against, if I would ask, are you interviewing other agents? Yes. Awesome. Who are you interviewing? You always talk good about the other person. They're a great person. You know what? No matter what you get, it's going to be good. And you leave it at that. You never, realtor code, don't talk bad about another agent. But if it was one of the 2, and then I still uplift them. One of them, the one that was crooked, I would say, there's I want you just to kind of know that, and you should do this on me too. You should actually do it with anybody you work with. You should go look on this website. You can look up and see if there's ever anything against their record. There's never been anything against my record, but research out your agents always. That's really important. And just leave it at that, because they'll find his stuff. That's how I got everything of his. And on hers, I would just say, oh, awesome. She's got a list price to sales price ratio of whatever it happened to be. I don't remember, 82.5 or something like that. And they're like, okay. And they think it's a good number. And then I immediately come in with, mine's 97.5, and just let it sit there. And then ask them after it sits for a little while if they're ready to do the paperwork. But look up their numbers. And if you find that, and you find yourself on listing appointments, you're going to be up against the top agents. It's an easy research because there's only a couple of them usually. 1, 2, maybe 3.
Yeah. And I was surprised at her, but I think she's more of a buyer's agent, to be honest. It's just that some listings fall in her lap.
Right.
And she has some repeat clients that, they sell and, want to buy. She help them again. But, I was really surprised that she took an overpriced listing for one. I didn't think she would waste her time on it. And then for 2, I can't look her up because I'm not in the same MLS.
Okay, hang on. Who do you know?
Yeah, I've got another agent in EXP that's in there. That's in the area that I probably can,
Right.
Look at her stuff or whatever, but I don't know.
All right. Anyway, that is when, so PF, what you're doing is you're reframing what it is that you do, because you can reframe anything, and that puts it in this awesome light, and also works this, which is even better, because now this is different. Craig, what you're doing is strategic. And that is brilliant, because that's when you get into, this is a game, and how do I play this game? Following the rules and not hurt, you know what I mean? Like, I can go after that business all day long because I know that person's hurting a client, and I don't want a client hurt. I know that they are. So I can go after that business all day long. Yep. It's just, it just gets fun. It really does.
Yep,
So,
yep. Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So glad you talked about your good news. I really am.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. And
I hate I missed it, PF.
PF, your good news, you missed it.
but Kathy wanted to say something.
Yes.
She was leaning in.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask Anna if we addressed her issue.
Oh, if we hit it enough.
I love you guys. Yes, you did. Thank you.
Kathy, you're so great.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. So then, Craig, for a quick recap, I've been putting in more hours driving for Lyft to take some financial pressures off my shoulders. And when I talked with the passengers, now I have a new concept that I didn't know about, thanks to the team here, which is called driving for dollars.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, driving for dollars. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So that's another way of reframing the conversation and showing my value to the passenger as a realtor and investing as an agent investor, an investor agent. So I can always talk to them. Hey, I'm scoping out for properties, and so I can present them to my investors, as well as driving this. And so I'm multitasking. I am stacking up things onto each other to extract more. What was the word that you used?
Leverage. You're leveraging.
I'm leveraging myself even better.
That's cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good luck. Good luck with it.
See, Lyft wouldn't work for me because I'm too rural.
Yeah. I live in the metro area, so it's not so bad.
Lyft doesn't work for me because my car is too old.
My car only has one other person and one piece of luggage in the trunk, so it would never work for me.
Yeah.
Never work for me. And your hair is going to get messed up because I'm not putting the top up. So
I love it.
how that goes.
You just give them a hat.
I do have, I have a couple of like do-raggy like things. They're not, but whatever, bandana-y things that I have in my car for if there's another passenger. Liz knows. Liz been in my car. You get tossed one of those. Like, here you go. If you want it, you get it, and if not, you don't. Yeah, whatever. You know. So anyway, all right, you all have a fabulous day. This is always a ton of fun, and I never know what comes, and it's always good. So, P.S. Rock your world.
All right, thank you.
Have fun playing with HomeSnap.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
Anna,
I gotta download it.
the hell out of them if you have to on price. Go look up the price objections on Gary's site or my site, The Works Coaching with an S, theworkscoaching.com. But go find them and go through those and just learn one at a time and go or do them with them over the phone, but it's better in person. And get those down so you can go get that person taken care of. Go kick their butt.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Love you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Great one, guys.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.